don't think it's any secret that I've been interested in this issue for some time. And I do have to say that I continue to believe, based on the data and the facts that I have seen, that pit bulls are extremely dangerous. The metric that I think is most important is the severity of attacks. You'll read from a lot of the correspondence. I've got a lot of emails, a lot of letters, a lot of papers. You'll read a lot about how, all dogs bite, and the frequency of dog bite incidents or dog bites doesn't change when you have legislation and all. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the severity of the risk. And year in, year out, it appears, for whatever reason, I'm not a veterinarian or an animal psychologist, but year in, year out, it appears that pit bulls, which may constitute 4% of the population of dogs in the United States, are responsible for 60%, 70%, 80% of fatal attacks on people. Last year, there were 31 fatal attacks by dogs. 4% of all dogs are pit bulls, so you'd expect that one of those would have been caused by a pit bull. 1 out of 31. And in fact, it was 27 out of 31. We have incidents in our community regularly. We had one just recently. I haven't seen the report, and I've asked for a more fulsome report, but we had an incident where there was a gentleman who was up on the roof of a car, and there was a call to the police for service because there was a pit bull that was trying to attack him. And we've had attacks with bites. We haven't had a fatality that I'm aware of, but we've seen a number of these attacks, and certainly in the region we have had fatal attacks by pit bulls. And again, without speaking to the cause, there is undeniably a correlation between this breed, for whatever reason, whether it's the owners or the food that they're fed or whatever it is, there is a connection between this breed and severe attacks. Last week in this breed, the topic came up when Josh spoke at the podium. There was an ER physician in the street, and he was here on another issue. He came up to the lectern and he said, I'm here on another issue, but I hear you talking about pit bulls. Let me just tell you, you work in an ER, you will never, ever own a pit bull. And because ER physicians see the severity of the damage.
And he probably went on the car.
You don't have your chance to talk, sir. We're going to have a civil discussion here, okay?
Well, you're addressing it.
You're darn right. That's the right that I get because I was elected by my community to do this. You'll have your chance. And he said, and these physicians, because I've talked to other physicians, they'll say not only will an ER physician not ever own a pit bull, he won't ever be near one, and he won't let his kids go visit a home where there's one. It's just undeniable that there is a correlation there. And I hope and pray that we do not have those kinds of fatal or severe attacks in Pasadena. And I do think it's incumbent on us to take some action. Now, I am told that under the state legislation that we're pretty much limited to taking an action based on overpopulation, not on the inherent dangerousness of this particular breed, which again, I believe is just undeniable. And so I did ask for this data, and if we could show page 5 of the presentation, the data about the number of pit bulls. And this is, I know a number of the people that are here are pit bull lovers, dog lovers. I've owned dogs all my life. I love dogs too. This is the real tragedy, is that we are euthanizing almost 3 times the number of pit bulls than we are any other breed. And I don't know if we have a number, Siobhan, for what the actual real number is that we're putting down of these pit bulls that are bred, found, and then not adopted, can't be adopted. Do we know the real number?
Let me look while we're here.
So, clearly on this record, there is good cause for us to require, not the banning of pit bulls. We could debate that, some other time and place, but under state law, we can require that pit bulls merely be spayed and neutered. And Dr. Walsh's testimony was that that would help the overall safety and health of the dogs, and it would prevent us from having to spend precious public resources killing what I'm going to guess is hundreds, maybe more, pit bulls every year. And I would think that would be something that we could all agree on, that we shouldn't be killing these animals. So I would like to know from my colleagues if there would be support for this, or whether we should defer this and make it part of a larger discussion about all breeds. I do fear that that's going to lead to what's called flooding. You know, that here there's an acute issue with regard to this one breed. It's almost 3 times the rate of euthanization as any other breed in our humane society. It's very expensive for us. And if we move to spay and neuter of all breeds and spay and neuters of cats, and then where does it lead? And we get all bollocksed up in it, and we're not taking any action at all. And I'm telling you, as sure as I sit here, there's going to be a severe attack. And I don't want to be the person that had an opportunity to take some remedial action to prevent that. I don't want what's happened in other communities. It's happened in our region. I don't want to have the parents or grandparents of a 2-year-old who got torn to shreds have to come in here and ask us why we didn't do anything.